There are several footprints in the mud, left by work boots. Anywhere from 6 to 12 pairs have walked here. An old call box with a matrix of push buttons lists all the companies in the East Delta Commerce Center. This button looks new, but someone has removed the name card. Nothing happens when you try to ring it.
This button looks new. It's probably not connected yet.
You ring the doorbell, but nothing happens. Nothing happens after you ring the doorbell. They don't want to talk to you. Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater gauge.
I am a gander and a hunter and a gatherer. Feel like a traveler.
A simple little cadence. He seems to be making it up as he goes.
From another planet. Hey there. It's the jam, my man. It's a traffic jam for the ages. Harbor gates up the street are shut tight. No explanation given. Workers on strike, scabs agitating, an all-around clusterfuck. Meanwhile, we're all stuck here in long-haul limbo for days upon days upon days. Upon days. Feels like forever. Like I was born on this here roundabout and this was all I ever knew. Just me and the metal and the tires, the oil and the fumes and mazout. Yeah, imagine. It's been a whole week already.
Behind the laugh, however, a touch of sorrow.
So tell me, What do you need? He ain't one of us drivers. I know that. All accounted for. Otherwise, I haven't really asked about that. Been wasting time right here. Keep him busy.
It's easy to see he's telling the truth. He's kept his nose out of the dark stuff.
Analyzing the fundamental structural and psychological conditions of being stranded in the midst of a sea of motor lorries and their sad, despondent chauffeurs.
Ask for his conclusion.
A sense of surprise there ain't more bodies hanging from more trees. Oh, high-grade narcotics, illegal firearms, stuff like that.
Time to arrest him.
Can't even get a few jokes past you, my man. I've got another haul of found cargo. Mostly sporting goods, tracksuits, and that kind of thing. They usually get shipped to Grad in the Occident, though we've been making headway in the Il Moran market lately. This rockin' beauty. Sure is, like a rash you can't get rid of. You interested in heavy-duty cargo machinery?
A motor lorry, also called a camion, on Caillou and neighboring islands. This one looks roughed up enough to be some sort of found rust bucket. Maybe the A6.
Good eye, my man. Yup, she's an old one, but reliable. Me and her spent a long time together.
There it is again, a little touch of sadness beneath his cool. He thinks he's spent too long in this lorry.
We're pals and all, but I can't just freely hand out the merchandise. The bosses won't be happy.
The man taps his fingers rhythmically against his arm. In his eyes, an half-familiar longing, flecks of brown and gold. It's hard to say. His gaze wanders southwest, down the street that goes beyond the horizon.
Excuse me? Man, I don't know what to say. Not much anyone can do. There's no helping in absence, you know. I miss my family. They're all I have. My wife, second kid on the way, waiting all the way in Diora. And here I am stuck in this shit, so far from home. Diora of the Seven Seas. It's on the other end of Le Caillou, pretty much, on another island called Laurentide, off mainland. We've got a little place there. Can almost hear my kid laugh when it snows. What's it like? Good. And bad. An ache that brings you joy. I think of them a lot. I dream up these silly scenarios in great detail of living with them. It comforts me. What about you, Cop Man? You missing someone?
Is that what it is? This feeling?
I feel for you, my friend. It's bad enough to know who you miss. Missing like that doesn't feel like it has much of an upside. But, thanks for this. It's nice to talk to someone, and I know it wasn't easy to ask. I hope you find your way through your own troubles. Don't be a stranger.
We should think about calling it a day, maybe. The nights are still miserably cold this time of year. We can pick up where we left off tomorrow morning.
That sugary black rum stain on the counter makes you teary-eyed with joy. It's almost touching how syrupy and sticky it is. How long have you been up already? Oh, excuse me. Do you have something better to do than lust for sweet syrupy rum and lemonade? With a twist of lemon? Maybe lime. Maybe who cares? Just rum. On the counter, rolled out of his open hand, you see a blister pack of headache medicine. The man does not mind. You probably need them more than he does.
Can I help you? Can I help you? Absolutely out of the question.
You wait and see, cafeteria manager. Absolutely in the question. First we find a sad banger, then we sing this place to shit.
Yes?
The door is closed. Still no answer. Still nothing. The lieutenant gives you a quick glance. He doesn't like where this is going. This door can only be opened with a key or from the inside. This is the door to the room you redecorated.
Just a moment. You had some questions earlier, I believe. And besides, we should discuss our progress on the investigation. Let's go out to the balcony.
The air outside is brisk. The lieutenant is silent for a moment. He listens to the traffic hum. Then,
Where shall we begin? We should talk about the investigation, first and foremost. But I also remember you wanting to discuss the RCM? I have a cigarette every night when I go over my notes. It's something of a ritual.
Oh man, he looks so devastatingly cool with that cigarette.
You mean this? This isn't cool. It's an unnecessary trial of will and unhealthy.
Keeping the habit within the parameters he's given himself takes a lot of focus. It would be easier to simply quit.
Yes, it's been a long and eventful day. Well, we inspected the victim's body, so that's good. It was not easily approachable in that state, but we did it. I would say our initial inspection was very thorough, and we have solid leads to follow up on. In addition, we got that body down from the tree, and we performed the field autopsy on the victim. We found some things we can really work with. I still feel like we are missing something, and there's still work to do at the crime scene too.
He's right. You could smell it. That something is missing, even under the overpowering odor of the corpse.
Now, as for interviews, my list of people to talk to here in Martinez, I mean. Very important indeed. Well, we conducted an interview with Everard Clare. He wasn't particularly forthcoming with useful information, however. Well, we will have to work through that. Claire also helped you, how should I say, remember your name? That's a relief. Moving on. We talked to Joyce Messier, but didn't get any information from her. I have a feeling Joyce knows how dangerous the situation really is. We have to get her to talk to us. Above all though, today was exhausting. What's with all the running? You run a lot. Is that a standard Precinct 41 practice? It's impressive, especially for a man your age, and in those hills. Nice shoes, by the way. I like the green. It goes with the orange. They're quite limited, actually. The power officers of the Revachol Citizens Militia exercise most frequently is imposing fines of up to 1,000 real for offenses, in accordance with an interdepartmental schedule. Yes, although indirectly, as citizens can always request records from their local station. Officers of the RCM have been known to take bribes of less than the prescribed fine amount. It undermines trust in the RCM. The RCM's primary role is to ensure safety. We are not really supposed to play any part in the economic structure of Revachol. We can arrest people, of course, but rather than bringing someone in directly, it's preferable to serve a station cold sleep. It prevents confusion and overcrowding. You can't. Those who don't show up become fugitives, though, and have fewer legal rights when they are eventually caught. It's about power projection. Thus far, they seem to mostly show up.
When power calls you, you come. But power itself is a fragile trick of perception.
We are permitted to use whatever force we deem necessary, even lethal. You have to supply compelling evidence for why it was necessary to use lethal force. In these cases, your partner is usually your witness. Not a good position to be in, by the way. Internal Affairs handles these cases thoroughly, by cross-examining you for inconsistencies. It is hard to cover for anyone, which... Yes, the last time was 4 years ago.
He says it matter-of-factly and moves on.
That's an improbability, perhaps even impossibility. Precinct 41 is known for a higher-than-average rate of police violence.
He's not judging you. He's respectfully acknowledging the difficulty of working in your precinct.
We don't convict. We arrest and send them to coalition government courts in Couronne and La Delta. The prosecution works off our testimonies and records, which is why it's paramount to keep them. The coalition government, and the moral intern more broadly. The RCM was formed by the coalition government to restore order in the international zone after the revolution. So we did. Now we attempt to maintain that order. No more, no less. Or perhaps it is better to say we were allowed to form. It's a point of contention whether the citizens of Revachol or the coalition government founded the RCM. It's probably more honest, yes. Either way, the moral intern leases us the right to keep the peace in this city, and they will take it away if we misuse it. The Moralist International are the world's largest political organization. You know who they are. They have been running this place after the revolution failed. There are a union of center-left and center-right parties across the Real Belt. Our coalition government is just one of its many projects. They also run the ICP, EPIS, most intergovernmental organizations in the world. What do they believe in? They are Dolorians. They believe they continue the humanist project set forth by Her Innocence Dolores Day 4 centuries ago. Others say they are just technocrats. Interesting question. It's a blue forget-me-not. Their motto is love, compassion, self-discipline. I think you can gauge what they want you to think of them from that.
Something kind and usual. Something ominous.
A historic figure? The author of the modern age? You will have to look elsewhere for opinions. The subject of humanism is too abstract for me. The moral intern are a fact. I try not to have opinions on facts until they change. And it doesn't look like that's about to happen.
It is more than that. There's some kind of affection in him.
Yes, I did, when I was younger. In my 20s, I considered myself a moralist. A blue forget-me-not, a piece of the sky. They're not all that bad.
That's another leitmotif associated with moralism.
But the years have changed that. I don't know what I believe in now. No, I believe in the RCM. That's enough for me. Do you? We are in what is called the twilight of international law. The laws we claim to enforce come from the MI. Without them, we are simply vigilantes. Then you will adore Martinez. For many of these people, the Union especially, vigilantes is precisely what we are. Personally, I don't enjoy it much.
The dying lights of the city shimmer below. Slowly, like luminous clouds, they pass on his lenses. The lieutenant looks at his slim cigarette, contemplating the next drag. This soldier is the highlight of the day for me, he thinks. This little stick right here. An aerostatic passes overhead, the whiskers of its floodlights on the ground below.
They really don't like us here. And the mouth on that kid, Kuno. It's different inland, in Jamrock and the GRIH. It's our fault for leaving this place to the dogs, to the Union, to the company, not daring to come here more often. This place has fallen between the cracks, the jurisdictions of our two precincts. We run this city. West of the river is RCM land. It's incredibly hard. Human beings are... But we are in control, and it's worth it. The organization works, our systems work. If they didn't, the city would disintegrate.
Night. Captain Ptolemy Price steps into the yard. A piebald horse waits by the motor carriage, chewing oats out of an oat bag. Seagulls fly overhead. The sky is black. Captain Price wears a black suit and a standard patrol coat as he mounts the horse to head home. Rows of houses on either side, hunching over the sidewalks, and Precinct 41 with its dome roof growing distant. Around him, the streets are silent. A kid on the corner waves at the captain as he takes the turn on Petition and Main. The horse neighs. The captain nods back. Thanks, kid, he thinks. He's grateful.
Me too. But I wouldn't count on any drastic changes in our lifetimes. Yeah, it's getting very cold now. Let's go. Yes?
The bed is cold and not particularly inviting, but it's yours. The sheets look awful. The window stands broken in its frame. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face, adorned with the expression. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face. The door is closed. see a heavy steel door with a prominent dimple lock. It's painted blue. The cobalt blue surface feels rough to touch. The stainless steel door is flush with its frame on every side. It leads to a side building, adjacent to this one. The old building next to this, half ruined. Whatever is behind it must be older. The door does not budge. You see a heavy steel door.
Hello again, sweetie.
Can I help you? Another thing. Great. I love those. Yes. Another thing. Great. I love those. Oh, yes, that door. Sure. Yes. What? Yes.
Hello again, sweetie.
An old call box with a matrix of push buttons lists all all the companies in the East silence. No one answers your call. Looks like someone has melted half the plastic off. Some kind of superstar. They say the world isn't ready for a rock and roll cop. No one wants their state monopoly on violence to be mixed with celebrity worship. They claim to know it would be dangerous for detectives to rise to the ranks of demigods and have sexual encounters with barely legal cover girls. It would be insane, they say. To all this, you say, fuck off and die, in a cool voice. You people have no idea how good these cops are gonna get. They're gonna crack 20 cases a day. In the future, cops will be like astrophysicists, or prime ministers, or prophets. And you're the first one. The bed is cold and not particularly inviting, but it's yours. The sheets look awful. The sheets feel at once coarse and clammy against your skin. The bed sags beneath your weight as you stretch out and finally close your eyes. And then sleep doesn't come. then sleep doesn't come. Maybe it's the bed's fault. Its synthetic filling has separated into hard lumps. The pillowcase smells oddly. It barely covers your toes, stretching over your soft belly. This is your body here, intimate and warm, breathing. Under your thrumming eyelids, you see a dizzying array of colors. You won't get off this carousel quite so easily. It's a little better. Colors, scenes, and half-formed phrases still litter your mind. Part of you is still trying to solve the case, isn't it? Something to do with, what was it that the lieutenant said? Union? And it's gone again. Your thoughts lost between the slowing brain waves. Your breathing steadies. A great silence washes over you until your eyelids twitch in your sleep and images start forming.
Do you remember the scent of your childhood? What it says on the can, Harry. Answer the question. Do you remember your wife's hand on your face? You know who I am. I'm the bad day. The one where you ask her, and then later in the streets, wandering. It's the worst day of all time, Harry dear. And it's coming. She will hear about it on the phone. Reality will turn into a grotesque nightmare. This will be the last thing you did to her. Tell me, do you remember the love of your life? Do you remember the warmth of her thighs, between her legs and in her mouth? That's right, funky baby. And you just stood there. One hand on the bottle and the other on your dick. Watching her go. Let it all be dragged away from you. Tell me, where are your friends? Human beings have friends, Harry boy. Where the hell are yours? No, it's gone. 3 times gone and never coming back. You failed. You failed me. You failed Elysium. Everything. The Pale and the Islas. On the surface. The outer magnetosphere. Burning, furious truth. 8,000 years of written history. You really dropped the ball, Harry. 4.6 billion people. And you failed every single one of them. You really fucked up. No, Harry. You were just talking to yourself. That's all you ever do, even in your dreams. And the act is wearing thin. The spots of the disco ball fade around you. You'll be back in those cold snakeskins in no time, sweating up the bed. Stinky boy. You're not coming back from shit, thrashing around in that high conductivity state of yours, bumping into things and acting like a clown. Who are you kidding? You're trying to what? I can't hear you. This is just a word dream now. Jumbled up garbage. The pictures are gone. The bed rises to meet you. A thin, sleep-like state. More glass than velvet, grinding in your head.
So something is wrong. Sleep shouldn't be this bad, this dry, this unnourishing. There's something wrong with your thoughts. Some kind of new type of hangover. Oh yes, party boy, and it's worse than the one before. Just think of the shit you saw. Here it comes too, so soon already. A silent alarm goes off in your head like clockwork, barely let you sleep at all. Time to get those clothes on, Harry. Time to go to work in the shit factory.
Good going, buddy. Really? Because you feel even worse this morning than you did last night. You mean, why are you so tired? Too tired and down to even think? It is worrying, isn't it? You can't be a detective like this. Detectives need to be able to think. It's just that your heart has finally pumped all the speed out of your system, Buster. Time to get some more. Don't do that. Stay strong. The hangover will wear off. You don't need to keep doing this to yourself. Speed is a potent central nervous system stimulant. It kept you propped up all day yesterday, despite your debilitating hangover. How else did you think you even got up from this floor? You got up from this floor because of a holy vow you made 16 years ago, with me. To wake up exactly 7:30 every morning until the day you die. Don't be silly. There was no vow. You were high on speed. That was the only reason you got up. You can't detect without it. It's that simple. Are you sure? Ready to live as this pathetic shell of yourself for days? Basically, a week? Let's be honest, 2 weeks, maybe 3. You won't make it. Half the town will be dead by then. You will be fired. Suit yourself, slow, sad shell man. See how you do without your spark.